district as it relates to low-income neighborhoods, African-American neighborhoods, and also overlooked. And then the Chamber calls us, why do we do two? This is the one of the Chamber of Commerce teamed up with us to make sure that the business community is also heard from my candidates, what their goals are for stimulating business, helping the business grow here in the city of Leesburg. We know that we are in a pandemic. We know that there are different various views on masks, no masks. So some people will have masks, some may not have masks. We still ask you to keep your 6 feet distance to make sure that everyone feels safe. So you will see Dr. Erica Jackson in the back. She'll be walking between candidates to answer questions, wiping down the microphones with Clorox wipes. So we just want you to all be safe. And remember that what we do here tonight is being viewed through Facebook Live, Christian Worship Center, the Chamber of Commerce YouTube page. So we want as many people to hear from these candidates as possible. So you know we have a packed room. We're broadcasting this out to as many people as possible so you can hear from my candidates on tonight. This is not like you watch on television the presidential election. It won't be that type of debate. We want to hear from my candidates. We want to hear from their heart. So they're going to be nice. They won't interrupt each other. So we're going to get as many questions and answers as possible tonight from my candidates. If we have enough time, we will even have questions from the audience. So if anything pops up from you guys, ladies, that you want to ask candidates, just kind of write it down. We're going to screen your questions because we don't want it to be any way derogatory towards our candidates. Sandy, anything you want to say before we start questions? No. All right, so we're going to go very easy. We're going to start from our school board candidate, and we can ask them to introduce themselves, tell us about themselves and why they're running. We're going to go all the way down from our school board candidate to our district 1 representative and our district 3 candidate, so they can just talk to us tonight about who they are while they're running. Candidates. Can we do about 3 minutes so we don't have a sermon minutes? So just 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I am Molly Cunningham, and I am currently a candidate for Lake County School Board District 4. I have spent a lot of time in the Leesburg community. I have been here several times as an employee of the school board. I have a husband, 2 children who are graduates of Lake County schools. I retired about 2.5 years ago after having worked almost 36 years here in Lake County. And the Lake County School District is extremely important to me.
Hello everyone, I'm Betsy Farmer, and I am running for Lake County School Board District 4 as well. I've taught for 37 years in the classroom. I taught elementary, middle, and high, 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grades. Every subject, gifted, ESE, every nationality you can think of, because I started teaching in Houston, Texas back in the 80s. I love all my children that I've taught in the past. They're all still my babies, they're all still important to me, and I still keep in contact with them, and that's fact, and they can tell you that. I'm running for school board because I just retired June 2nd, signed up to run June 3rd, playing catch-up, and after teaching 2 years ago, after going through the active shooter program, and realizing how much education has changed in the classroom and how we've had to take a bullet for our students, it really, it made you think in different directions, and we just lost one. Testing here. And then the most recent, last school year, the last 9 weeks, if you remember, if you have children in the school system, after March 12th was the last day, they went on spring break, Friday the 13th, which was a teacher work day, and we never went back. So then we learned to teach virtually, and I had to teach from 3 different platforms because I was teaching high school science. It was quite challenging, and you know, instead of complaining, I thought, why don't I try to do something about this? So I retired, and I signed up to run the next day. When I found out that I could qualify and still do that by January, I have a passion for all Lake County school students, no matter what community they're in. our schools the best they can be, and hopefully A schools. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joey Murray, and I've been a Leesburg resident since 1961. Moved here as a spry 1-year-old. My father is a pharmacist, I'm a pharmacist, and I've got one of my children is a pharmacist. So we're in the pharmacy business. We have run a community pharmacy here since 1964. I've been the owner of the business since 2002. I want to run for city commission because I've spent the last 20 years involved with the city in the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. And as a member of that board, I've seen some great things happen here in Leesburg. And I just kind of want to take it to the next level. I want to move up and make sure that good decisions are made for everybody in Leesburg. And that's about it.
Good afternoon, I'm Alan Griezmann. I'm born and raised right here in Leesburg, Florida. I have 3 sisters and 6 nephews and 2 nieces, so they keep me pretty busy. I work at Firehawk Helicopters at the Leesburg International Airport. I'm on the Leesburg Airport Advisory Board, part of the Leesburg Chamber Board, and I've been attending the City Commission meetings and budget meetings for the past almost 10 years. I see a lot of things happening. I see a lot of good things happening, and I just want to make sure we keep Leesburg on track for one city, one community, and not the division that I see with certain commissioners. And I want to be a part of that growth and a part of that, the strength that can come in numbers with all of us here. And that's why I'm running for Leesburg City Commission.
Great evening, everyone. Thank you for having me on today. My name is Fred Griffin Jr., and I am running for Leesburg City Commissioner, District 3, Seat 3, and I have 2 other candidates, but I guess they're busy or not sure exactly what's going on, but I'm here to address why I am running for Leesburg City Commissioner. First, I've been married to my lovely wife for 6 years. We have 2 beautiful girls. I am really kind of native. I was born and raised here in Eustis. My community involvements, I am board of director on 2 different boards with Citadel of Hope Ministries, where I serve as the main board, and Hope Vision board of directors. I am a servant leader and a deacon. With my community involvements, I'm a mentor at Leesburg High School, 2 Steps in Common. I'm a volunteer with Sumter and Marion County Schools. I volunteer with Keep Lake Beautiful. I have a scholarship foundation, Fred Griffin Jr. Scholarship. I am, as you all see, I'm very involved. And I served on Lake County Elders Affairs for 2 years. I also mentored with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Florida for 8 years. And I also mentor at Lake Sumter State College, so I am very busy. But why I'm running for Leesburg Commissioner is because I see that our city has come to a halt where we need new ideas. Growing up here in Lake County, Leesburg was the go-to city. It was a punishment not to be able to go to the mall. And as you all see, the mall is suffering. And with my creativity and witty ideas, I think I will be a great candidate to represent you all here in this district and also in this city. So that's why I am running for Leesburg City Commissioner, District 3. Thank you.
All right. So I guess at this point, we're going to go ahead and start with our questions. And I'm going to start with the school board for our first question. We'll have about 2 minutes to answer. So our first question is, statistically, when tested as to readiness for kindergarten, Leesburg schools averages 25% ready to enter kindergarten, where in some schools in South Lake, kindergarten readiness is more like 75% that are ready for kindergarten. What, if any, do you feel the responsibility is of the school board to address this issue?
Okay, so what I think we probably should do is take a look at providing more early childhood services to those students who are 4 years old, pre-kindergarten. And if those services, like through the Title I program maybe, are necessary, then we need to do that. We've got to definitely help each student. This is the United States of America, and everybody has everybody deserves a fair chance. So that's what I'm thinking. Definitely I would work on that. I definitely support helping these students out, and make sure that we increase 25% much higher.
The problem with school readiness is not a new problem to Leesburg. It's a problem that we have struggled with here in Leesburg for a number of years. When I first came to Lake County in 1982 and began working, Leesburg and schools such as Beverly Shores, they were the creme de la creme. I remember my first job here in Leesburg, I serviced 4 schools as a speech therapist. And Beverly Shores was a school everyone wanted to attend. I think the main thing that has to happen in order to get our students ready for kindergarten has to do with exposure, has to do with working in the community and establishing programs, because the state already provides for pre-kindergarten for all students. We have the Ryan's Early Learning Center here in Leesburg, so actually Leesburg has quite a nice facility for properly educating our 4-year-olds. But if that's not happening, then we obviously need to take a look at the curriculum. We need to look at the services that are being provided. And I think once you examine the services, then you can make whatever necessary changes. Oftentimes, it's just a matter of teachers needing professional development. Times change, curriculum change, students change. And you've got to be able to develop relationships and work on whatever the problem is. I think the time has long since passed where we can simply state the statistics and say, well, we gotta do something. I think the time is now. My last stint here in Leesburg as an elementary principal, I'm very proud to say in that particular school, we were able to raise the readiness rates of those students. I think that it can be done again. I don't think that it's because of lack of funding, because we have the funding, it comes from the state, we have the programs, we are providing them. We simply need to examine what we're offering and how we're offering it.
Thank you. Okay, this next question is for our city commission candidates. In your opinion, what does it mean for Leesburg to be business friendly? And if you were to give Leesburg a grade on being business friendly, what would that grade be and why?
As a business owner here in Leesburg, I will tell you that Leesburg has been extremely business friendly to me. I have no arguments, no questions, no problems with how I've been treated as a business person. So when I got John's text concerning what we would be looking at tonight a little bit, I got on the telephone and I called some other business owners. I talked to Bennett Walling out at Palm Plaza and asked him how he felt about it. I talked to Don Buckner with Vactron, trying to get information as to how they felt about how Leesburg treated them. And for the most part, everyone I talked to had good things to say about the city and their openness and willingness to work with businesses. On the other hand, I thought, well, if I was a new business coming to Leesburg, first thing I'd probably do is go to Leesburg's website, and I'd look up the economic development page, and I'd start reading through what does Leesburg offer. Now, I made a few notes here, and Leesburg on their website says that they have a Florida Enterprise Zone, which is a tax incentive that's supposed to help businesses that open up on the west side of Highway 27. But we don't have that anymore. Okay, they have impact fee waivers on their website, but we don't have those anymore. They do have a impact fee deferral program, and they do have a foreign trade zone, which helps with importers, kind of levels the table for them. We also have a hub zone program for businesses that are in the triangle which is basically Dixie 27441. If you own a business in there and you're doing business with the federal government has to spend 3% of their purchases with businesses that exist in these HUD zones. So that's a real positive thing, and that program is still active. We have the CDBG fund, $750,000 to new infrastructure projects or new or expanding businesses, and that's still available. It also says we have a Leesburg job growth incentive, which is basically a $500 check for somebody if you create a new job where someone is performing at 110%, you're paying a little bit more than the average for the county, but we don't have that anymore. So there's also a Leesburg Business and Sign Grant program on the website, which we are doing, and is still funded. So as a new business owner that's looking at Leesburg as a place to come to, I think we got to clean up our website. And in fact, I did make a phone call, and I think that's being done. So, it casts a little bit of a shadow on Leesburg if you can't get it right from the start when somebody's inquiring. So, in giving Leesburg a grade, right now I think we're a C+, maybe a B on a good day.
I would grade Leesburg at about a B, just from my own experience and different experiences that I've heard from other business owners. I think there's always room for improvement. I think we should create some kind of business incentives to help guide the businesses through the process. Talking to a new business owner, they don't know what the first step would be. I think we need to team up with our chamber, our other different nonprofit organizations, and help guide those businesses, just help them prosper and get them on their feet. And that would be what I would do to help improve Leesburg.
When it comes to Leesburg, I would give it a C-. Even though we may be in the midst of an emergency with COVID, like I go back to stating, growing up here in Lake County, Leesburg was the go-to city. I mean, everyone wanted to do everything in Leesburg. I'm an operator of developmental disability facility in Eustis. That's my new business. I have a school and I have a group home. Leesburg was my first top place that I wanted to do business. However, being in the industry, it is a lot of ALFs and group homes here in this area. When it comes to economic growth, I am for it. 7 years in business, it's been amazing. I've been thriving. And I also have Fred Griffin Fred Griffin Consulting. When I help small businesses, and also I bring in existing businesses and help them to get back on their feet and all that other good stuff. So yes, I'm all for it. And I think if we get a hold of these stakeholders to come in and let's have a roundtable discussion. Let's get a hold of these counties around us and see what we can do to bring them in and bring new ideas along with the old ideas. And I think we will be just fine moving ahead.
Thank you, candidates. Now for the City of Leesburg candidates. Today is a crucial time in our world and nation. There is much racial unrest, misinformation, skewed news, and in many instances, too few instances where there are public officials who are willing to step up, take a stand, and speak out for the good of all people. Question 1. What plans do you have to ensure that race relations do not go backwards, but rather are improved in our city? Ms. Griffin, you start.
Thank you. That's a really great question. As you all look around in the world, there's so much that's going on with police brutality and all that other good stuff. Bad stuff and good stuff. But you do have really great cops that are out there, and I think they're not being rewarded because the bad apples. Moving forward, I think that one with the youth, and I was very shocked a couple weeks ago that I found that Leesburg do not have body cams. And that was very concerning to me when I sat in a commissioner meeting when someone stated that they were going to go without the legal action because of something that happened here. And that protects not only the police, but it also protects you as well as a citizen. So in order for us to prevent that happening here in Leesburg, we need to be proactive. And I think being proactive is starting with our local police department, getting involved with our communities, that they patrol, and there should be no excuse for a Mother Sue and the police officer does not know each other, and he patrols the area every single day. And that's concerning to me. So that's one of my proposals when elected on November 3rd, is that I get the police department involved with our local youth. And then we can get that under control, starting off young, get the guns off. Our high area, they saying that Leesburg is ranked number 10 as a dangerous city. I disagree. But whoever wrote this article agreed. So that's why I will start with it. And I will look forward to working with the police department on November 3rd when elected.
Things I think we can do to make our community safer is we need to have more engagement with our public officials or law enforcement. That way the community does feel safer. Have community events, and I agree. I think we do need body cameras because I think that protects both entities. That's my thank you.
I think it's up to us as individuals to get over it. When I was growing up here in Leesburg, I played on a baseball team, 1977, that we won the state championship, Pat Thomas Field right over there. And on that baseball field, there was the starters, there was 6 white guys, and there was 3 African American guys. It was a perfect representation at the time of the citizens here in Leesburg. And we came together as a team and won the state championship. And I think we all have to just get over it and work together to make Leesburg better.
Thank you. Now our school board. Because research shows that all students come to us with a wealth of discoverable background knowledge in their brain that can be tapped to produce brilliant students. To what extent are you willing to fight for this kind of teaching knowledge to be shared and supported in our schools, particularly our failing schools?
I'm first.
Yes.
Well, I can speak something about failing schools. I had 2 schools that were failing, and that was exactly the situation that I walked into. I think first and foremost, schools officials, be it teachers, principals, any kind of worker in the school, the relationship that they build with the students and with the students' parents and with the community, I think is essential to helping them to be successful. And once you have established those relationships, I think it's important then that you take a hard look at your curriculum. Curriculum is the backbone of everything that occurs in a school. You have to be able to distinguish between whether your curriculum is meeting the needs of your students. You then have to figure out if your teachers and your other professionals that are given the task of carrying out those curriculum needs, if they have the training that they need. Sometimes it's a matter of training. I know my last failing school, we had a lot of money, but it was very important that I worked very hard along with a team of other people to choose where we spent the money, to choose what things we chose to purchase, and how we chose to train the people that had to carry out those responsibilities. I have found that in Leesburg, I have had some of my greatest highs as far as my professional career. I can tell you there is no feeling that is greater than watching a school earn an A when it didn't have one before, and knowing that the state has determined that the children enrolled in that school are making an annual years of progress per year. That's a wonderful feeling. And to be able to do it at a school where it's been said they wouldn't be able to do it, that makes it even sweeter. I think every school, whether it's in Leesburg, Lake County, or any other county, deserves to have people that are concentrating on making sure that those children are given every opportunity and that every curriculum need or every training need of the staff is taken care of. Thank you.
I totally agree with Mom in that every child needs to have every opportunity. That's why I'm really encouraging vocational education coming back into the classroom, into our schools. We have some, but after the Common Core started in 2009, vocational education seems to have been eliminated from a lot of campuses throughout the United States. We all know that we want to have successful community people, students who graduate from high school, and they are going to be successful right away, whether they're a plumber and they had the math that went along with plumbing, or an electrician. They can go right out and get a job after they graduate from high school and be successful and not be a burden to our communities. So I'm really thinking that vocational ed is very, very important for all of our schools in Lake County. And that's what I'm proposing.
Thank you. Little off script, this is a personal question for a school board first. I know you don't particularly represent Leesburg, but in the south end of the county, tremendous growth is taking place as new schools are being built. Here in Leesburg, i.e. Beverly Shores, Super Park, schools are in dire need of repair, upgrades, for us to recruit high-quality teachers to improve our school system and to be competitive. What we have in Leesburg are private schools that are taking our best students. Parents are opting to pay for their kids to come out of Lake County school system because I believe is the level of service we provide. So what would be your fight, what would be your angle on improving not just the curriculum or teachers, but also the physical buildings in Leesburg, Blue Park, Beverly Shores, and some of those aging schools that are needed dire repair?
Yes, that's a good question. I mean, there are more schools than just in Leesburg that need repair. There are some DeBerry schools too, believe me, because I taught at DeBerry's elementary, middle, and high. But, you know, I think we need to do a community outreach, and we need to get some local businesses involved, and maybe some parents involved. I'm really looking at our communities and local businesses. I think they can take a step up. A lot of them hopefully can afford to, as long as we oppose Amendment 2, and we can keep our small businesses in business. That's where I would start, but I definitely would brainstorm and maybe get a committee together and try to figure out what we can do to solve this. Because our local monies are our biggest part of our budget into the school system, and we need to improve that. I'm hoping now that Amazon is going to open up in Groveland, maybe they'll bring a little bit more local money, but the budget's very confusing.
And I know we have school real deal with I should not put them on the spot, but here in Leesburg, and particularly for those that watch in Leesburg in particular, our local high school, which I'm a graduate of Leesburg High School, a couple years ago, the bleachers were in such disrepair that the school board had to tear them down because they were unsafe. The city of Leesburg, we voted to actually pay for the bleachers so that our school students, businesses won't have to sit on the same side as the home team. The school board said no, they wouldn't found the money to build those bleachers. That's the purpose of my question. I don't think the city businesses should have to pay for school facilities. I think we need representatives on a fight for Leesburg schools, whether it be bleachers, whether it be AC vents, whether it be the school looking like a grade A school. We talk about our students getting A's, but I think Leesburg facilities need A's. So that was kind of my question. And so I know it's varied, you would tell in other cities may need it, but I think Leesburg, we kind of been saying, hey, improve our schools because we're the ones that are saying we got failing schools, and we want to improve it. Ms. Cunningham, you've been at Beverly Shores, and so question to you is what would you do to help improve the facade of our schools?
Well, first of all, Pastor Christian, I am running to represent District 4 because I live in Tiberias. However, I will fight no harder for the children in Tiberias than I will for the children in Groveland, Leesburg, Mount Dora, Yalaha, Study, it doesn't matter. They're all students and they all deserve the same treatment. So I would certainly not be concerned with where they happen to live. There is a procedure that the board has for determining when schools are renovated and when new schools are built. So I think in keeping with the responsibilities of a board member, what I would do is get with, and actually I have already talked to people about, we have what's called a 5-year plan, and in that plan, they usually put the projects such as schools that are gonna be renovated and schools that meet certain things. And certainly, you know, as a board member, you can lobby. That is your opportunity to speak up. And if you have your facts and your statistics and all of that, you can certainly speak up to have, you know, a school considered. I am very aware of the conditions of the schools in Leesburg. And I do believe that just like in other places, Leesburg does have dire needs. And certainly, if elected, I will do my very best to make sure that those needs were considered and that we follow the procedure for bringing those up such that perhaps change could happen.
Thank you. All right, City Commissioners. The CDC was created in 1997 after a 7-year racial lawsuit between the NAACP, City of Leesburg, and the hospital. There's been great change in the Pine Street community, as well as with the new $4 million aquatic center that will be breaking ground in October. What is your plans, ideas on connecting Pine Street to Main Street and ensuring that the viability of Pine Street is just as important as downtown Leesburg?
My idea to connect Pine Street to Main Street would be improve the roads. We need sidewalks for our kids and to connect Main Street to Pine Street, and the beautification with landscaping. I think Pine Street can be and will be our next Main Street with an aquatics facility. I think I envision an ice cream store across the street with a restaurant of some sort so when people are there at the aquatic facility. But I think we need to connect them, improve it. Dixie, put some arches, some kind of grand entrance to Pine Street to improve that. Thank you.
My idea of looking back on Commissioner Regina Hill, I was able to work beside her a couple of years ago when she was elected into office. She flipped Paramore area upside down and turned it around. I believe the same thing could happen here on Pine. Take it, build it up. If we need to renovate the apartments and or the old businesses, let's do it. We have the funding. And then the upper hand that I have as well, I'm a grant writer. There's a lot of federal dollars that's out there that we can get a hold of. And that's my proposal, is to do the same thing that she did for Paramore. Let's bring it here in Leesburg.
It's a problem. If you look physically at Pine Street dead ends into Main Street, and directly across the street is a property owner's business. You'd have to virtually tear that business down in order to physically connect Pine Street to Main Street. So you got a problem. You also have a big push right now for the trails in the community, which that trail will connect directly through the area where the aquatic center is being built. And I think that's the connection that you have to make from Pine Street. The aquatic center, for those of you, I hope everybody's seen a rendition of it or knows what we're talking about. But that is going to be a game changer for Pine Street. That is going to draw, in summertime, hundreds of people to that pool. You have an excellent corridor between the pool and the hospital for businesses to be developed. I think currently you have a couple of more or less weekend restaurants operating in the area. I see a great potential with employees from the hospital. There should be somebody offering 7-day-a-week food service in that area. My wife operates a non-for-profit organization that deals with kids that age out of foster care, kids that don't have transportation. And one of the things they talk about all the time when Denise is trying to find housing for them, they want to know where are they going to be housed. And they look at the physical location and they use a term that's called, well, that's in the desert. And what they mean is, you want to put me in a house where there are no food sources within walking distance, because I don't have transportation. And when you look at the east side of Leesburg, it is a desert. We need more development in the Pine Street area, especially in food service type things. And I would encourage the City Commission to work with the hospital, because basically the hospital owns most of the property in the area, to move towards finding solutions, to creating areas where maybe it's a little small area that has 3 or 4 food trucks and an outdoor spot where you can sit underneath a pavilion and eat. With the amount of employees the hospital has coming and going from the parking lot in that area, I just don't think something like that has so much potential. The African American Museum right there, right behind it, is an empty lot owned by the LRMC or UF Health. And I just think there are spots where we could have something like that would be effective for the businesses and also provide invaluable services for those in the community who just don't have the transportation to get around where they need to go.
Before I go to this next questions, I just wanted to say how appropriate I think it is to have our city commission and our school board here together. Because although I agree with with Pastor Christian that it is not the city's job or the business's job necessarily to fix our schools, at the same time, the only way we're really going to do this is if our community comes together with our schools to solve some of the issues that we have. And especially even within our city commission, because we as a city bear the brunt. We are the ones who hold the repercussions of not having the right schools and having low performing schools. So I just want to say that. So I hope that as you all are sitting there thinking about your answers, you're also listening to these school board questions and concerns, because I do think that they are really community concerns, not just school board concerns. So with that, though, I'm going to go back to our city commission for another question. And that is, how can the city most effectively utilize the electric and the gas utilities to further economic development? I'm going to say it again, because I know this is one of those questions that you all did not get ahead of time. So it's, how can the city most effectively utilize their electric and gas utilities to further economic development? And Mr. Berger, do you want to start with this?
I'm not really sure, to tell you the truth, that the city currently is really moving from the electric business to the gas business. And that gas business is going to be tied directly to development in the south end of Leesburg with the villages. I think sometimes we look at how can we create more brick and mortar, where we can sell more utilities in order to generate revenue here in the city, and I've got a little bit different take on it. I think there's probably a lot of people in this room who used to go to a brick and mortar building every day for work, and now they're not going to the brick and mortar building. They're doing Zoom meetings, and they're working remotely. And I've talked to many businesses who are saying their companies electricity when we can do a lot of things remotely. I think if, as a community, as a city, we need to look at trying to develop job growth in people that can work remotely, that choose to live in Leesburg. We need to try programs to encourage folks that will move to Leesburg and work remotely, living in Leesburg, because we've got these beautiful lakes, and we've got this beautiful weather, and we've got a great festival atmosphere with our partnership, outside of COVID, of course. But those are the areas where I think we've got to look for economic growth, because I'm just not sure that selling more electricity and selling more gas is going to be the answer. Okay?
I think we need to continue doing what the city commission is already doing. When there is an excess, they lower the rates. When you lower the rates, you put more money into your citizens' pockets. And when you put more money into their pockets, they spend more money. I think that would be a huge economic driver. I also think we need to look at our deposits. I think that's a big issue for not only renters and residents, but our businesses coming in. The deposits are through the roof. I think that will help if we can alleviate some of that deposit and create some kind of a incentive plan where if they pay their electric bill on time, everything like that, they can get those deposits back or get a lower rate. But I think we need to put more money back into the residents of Leesburg, and that will ultimately create economic development in my vote.
Yes, and I totally agree. As a business owner in Eustis, it's one of the things with COVID. We cut costs when it came to our utilities. And I had to look at the fact that if I can work from home, I will work from home. If we needed to spend more time in a certain area, let's do that. We can cut it out. However, in the same aspect, being in a different side of the communities in Leesburg, some of the utilities are a little higher than others. And I know the residents have voiced their concerns about it numerous of times. And if we bring economic growth here, then we can continue to do the millage rate and rollback. A lot of people feel that we don't need to bring anything here, it's going to mess our living and our conditions up. But if we don't have it, then it's very hard to continue to lower our taxes, which is going to bring down the utilities and all the other necessities that's being presented to us here in Leesburg. And as a concerned resident, I'm concerned as well with my utilities and all the other factors as well. So going forward, yes, we have to find a, I guess, a better option or a better idea. I don't have that particular answer. However, I would find the answer for you. Thank you.
All right, ladies. If you've ever been to a Leesburg Chamber breakfast, most likely you are going to hear me say something about the fact that the performance of our schools relates directly to economic development. As Pastor Christian said, we have inequities in our school districts where we have high-performing schools in some areas and low-performing schools in others. What will you do to ensure that our low-performing schools receive the resources and funding they need to excel?
Well, I was thinking we need to keep the money into the classrooms as much as we can for the teachers and the students. And maybe we could get some boosters to help do fundraisers to like fix the track or the bleachers. And I would definitely, that's one of my goals, to figure out how to solve some of these things.
I'm going to share a very short, true story with you. A few years ago, before I became the principal of Beverly Shores, I was the principal at Eustis Heights in Eustis. And I realized Eustis Shores had very similar demographics. They had very similar issues. Although at the time, Eustis Heights was an A school, but it wasn't making AYP. And AYP is very important. So I rearranged my Title I budget, which is money that the district receives from the federal government to help needy schools. And I paid for about 6 of my teachers and myself and one of my assistant principals to travel to Atlanta to get some special training. And this training was going to help us specifically with working with students in schools that were failing, in areas that were at best compromised. As soon as I returned from the trip, I realized, or I was told by the superintendent, that I was not going to be the principal any longer at Eustis Heights, but rather I was coming to Beverly Shores. And I was very concerned because I had it all planned out what I was going to do at Eustis Heights. So I had to quickly change all that, but I realized something in the process. Good resources is good resources. It doesn't matter where it is. You just have to alter it and change it to make it fit. So what I did was I quickly restructured everything, came to Beverly Shores again. I had to redo their Title I budget. Now that meant I had to go to meetings, I had to get special permission because those budgets get set. And once they've been set, you can't just go in and change them, but there are ways to do that. And I realized in the midst of this that ultimately it was my responsibility to do whatever I needed to do to make sure that I could bring the kinds of things to that school that I needed to. And as a result of that, I was able to. And it made a drastic difference, not just in the lives of the students, but it made a drastic difference in the lives of the parents. Because if your child goes to a school that your child is proud of, and that your child feels comfortable in, the parent's gonna be happy. And if the parent is happy, then that's gonna spread to the community. And I am listening to the city commissioners. And I do understand that in order for them to track economic growth, they need us to produce fine students. They need us to have high-performing schools. So it does go hand in hand. And one of my platforms, or one of the planks of my platform on my website, mollycunningham.com, speaks of that. It speaks of the school board working in collaboration with the county commissioners and with city councils, because the school does belong to each and every one of their citizens. And it does take a combined effort, and we do need to work together.
Thank you. Now, another question on the school board, since you have the microphone, Ms. Cunningham. As we talk about equity, equality in education, many of our teachers, the governor just instituted and asked school boards to raise the initial rate of pay for incoming teachers. We know that school districts are kind of handicapped on how they share that across the board. In that, it's also, I'm sure, created in other counties a rubble of experienced teachers, and how are they going to get compensated or get a raise for what they do? Do you have any ideas on any, as a principal and being in the classroom as Farmer and so many different levels, do you have any ideas for our veteran teachers to keep them motivated and excited about teaching our students, and what grade do you give the current school board administration?
You know, being a dedicated school board employee, school board member, superintendent, all of those things are very hard jobs. A lot of people don't fully understand that, but it's very hard. You are in a position where you gotta keep a lot of people happy, and you gotta hold true to what the school exists for, and that's the students. Parents send the very best kids that they have to school. I've often told faculties, they don't keep the good kids at home and send you the bad ones. They send you the best that they have. And as an employee, you have an obligation. You have an obligation to make sure that those children are properly cared for. As far as the discrepancy between the money that the governor has given to the districts, and he has set aside an amount that he would like for beginning teachers to make versus veteran teachers, that's a problem. That's very unfortunate, because what that means now is that districts have to work to make up the difference, to make sure that those veteran teachers get their proper due. probably B plus, A minus. And I don't give them that grade because necessarily that they don't have a desire. I don't think there's anyone who takes a job as a person who's serving society, who takes that job intentionally setting out not to take care of the people they represent. I think sometimes once you get there and you're at the table, circumstances and situations cause you not to always be able to do the things that you would like to. I believe this superintendent genuinely tries. I believe that my voice would be one that I could take to the table, and along with my voice would come all your voices. I think that is the reason I run for school board, or I am running for school board, is because one thing I've learned in 35 years, every parent wants the very best for their child. Every city wants to be able to brag about their schools. And as a school board member, it would be my responsibility to make sure that I was always on top of what your needs were, regardless of whether you lived in my district or not. And I would always have as my first priority, working to make sure that those things that you needed and you wanted was certainly considered. Thank you.
Pastor Christian, thank you for that question. That's one of the many reasons why I'm running for school board. After teaching with some teachers in the past 4 years where beginning teachers got this pay raise and they were making more money than teachers who've been there for 10 years. And this is countywide, of course, statewide. And there was resentment. And it's very difficult whenever you're having professional learning communities with your department and making sure that everybody got along. Fortunately, it's very cyber lucky because we had a great science department. I'm sure it still is. But this is something that definitely needs to be addressed. And I agree with Molly, and she and I have both met with our superintendent and with basically, he's like the chief financial officer. I really truly feel they are trying their best, but the budget just doesn't allow that. And again, the budget is very confusing. But I too will speak for everybody in here. And I mean, I've had so many thousands of students from Lake County schools, and I even taught my own children, my own biological offspring. And I speak for all of them. We do need to do something about this. I'm not sure what the solution is, but I'm working on it. And also, another concern I have is Betsy Boss wanted testing to go ahead in the schools this year. After we didn't have like last 9 weeks of school last year, a lot of kids got behind. And now they're wanting to test it. I think we need to contact our legislative delegates, whether email or snail mail, and let them know that this needs to be a baseline if they test them. Don't punish the students. Don't punish the school districts. Give them a grade that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Lake County schools would have been basically an A school system last year if we could have done the end of course exams. And that's a shame because we didn't get to do that. And so now if we get tested this year and all these students are behind, it's a major concern. So they'll be punishing teachers too. So yeah, this is something we really need to work on. It is a problem, yeah.
Thank you. Do you have a grade for the school board?
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, and I agree with all the intents after meeting with them, because before I met with them, I was a little bitter, but after meeting with them and realizing that they do have really good intentions and they are trying their best, it is not an easy job. So I would agree too with A minus, B plus.
Thank you. To our city commission candidates again, this is for one of the members of the CBC board. What is your definition of equity management in the city of Leesburg hiring and interrelations among its constituents, please? What is your definition of equity management in the city of Leesburg hiring and what is your definition of equity management in the city of Leesburg's hiring and interrelations among its constituents? Equity management in the city of Leesburg's hiring and interrelations among its constituents.
Okay,
Want me to rephrase it?
well, I don't have a good answer for you, because I'm not really buying into or understanding what it is. Equity management, meaning that our hiring practices should be equal for all participants in the system.
I would like to probably, let me go a little further. 1997, I think city manager Tony Oddie at the time, we had a housing manager by the name of Ms. Betty Grant, worked for the city of Leesburg probably 30 plus years. 1997, there was again a huge race issue in Leesburg. This constituents of the African American community approached city manager. It was the first time the city manager had ever walked into an African American church to have a public meeting. Mr. Oddie at that time promoted Ms. Betty Graham to the first African American department head in the city of Leesburg, which many scratch their head as a city this old and this diverse would only have the first African American department head in 1997. Since then, we've had HR Director Jackie Perry, Ken Thomas as the housing manager, director, and also David Johnson, the first African American firefighter. So I think the question kind of goes to the point of, we often say, which kind of, irks me a little bit, we say we always hire the best person for the job. We hire the best person that we thought we liked for the job. So we're saying as a diverse city that's actually growing, how are we gonna make sure that the city of Leesburg continues to have hiring practices that represents its constituents of the city of Leesburg? In other words, make sure that we're fair in our hiring practices.
I got you. I think our hiring practices, you can look at it in a black and white issue. City of Leesburg is about 25% African American, roughly. So, I would hope that our upper level management in the city represents at least some number close to 25%, if not more. I still want to fall back to, we need qualified people in the position. But if you're looking at departments and all the qualified people happen to be of one race, then you can look at it as there's probably a problem there. So, for me, I have a Korean son, I've got a Chinese daughter, and I have 6 other kids, 4 of which are my biological kids. So, I've got a little bit of everything, and I don't see color the way some people see it. And I hope, as a city commissioner, that I can encourage all of us to get over it and let's all get the job done.
I would have to agree with Mr. Burry. I have a very diverse family. My sister can't have kids, and my other sister, we have a very wide range of nationalities for my nieces and nephews. So I don't see color as well, and I think we need to maybe put a committee or a team together that we could look at the applicant and score them evenly, because I think that would be the best thing, no matter what race or religion or anything. I think whatever person fits the job and can do the job the best.
As a business owner, that's one of the things that I look at when we go to HR and say, hey, not only for the best candidate, but we need to also look at the qualification that meets the job, no matter their age, gender, all the other good stuff that comes with it. But when I look back here in the city, yes, we are versatile. And one of the things that I also teach at Lake Sumter when I motivational speak is that diversity class. Yes, I do host a diversity class, and I think it's very important in the corporate world that we need to have diversity. And the same applies here in the city. look around all areas, and the best candidate for that job, they get that position. However, as you all look around, unfortunately, in some cities and states, it's not happening. And I don't want Leesburg to be that, so we should be that trailblazer for the other states and counties, so they can look back and reflect and say, hey, Leesburg is very diverse, and we want to aim to be like them, and that's what we're striving for.
Thank you. We're gonna loosen up a little bit, and we'll go back around and start Ms. Varner. Is there anything you want us to know about your platform? Ms. Cunningham talked about her plan, one of her plans for her platform. Is there anything that you want us to hear from you right now that will change all our minds and vote for you? We'll go straight down the road.
Okay, well, my husband and I we have 3 children. They all graduated from Lake County schools. And I've already told you how many schools where I've taught and what grades I've taught. I've taught many, as I said before, nationalities, and I completely understand from where you all are coming. I am here to support everyone. Let's see, I have a master's in curriculum. I'm national board certified. I was on the Leesburg Water Conservation District for 12 years. I was treasurer most years, and I was a chairperson 4 of those years. That is a federally elected position in which you have to work with budgets and cost share programs. So I feel I have the leadership skills from that, and then I was, of course, coach and mentor at schools and helping other teachers. I was in the union for 37 years, and I taught for 37 years. 12 of those years, I was an LCEA rep, as a Lake County Education Association representative for 2 of our Lake County schools, the elementary, Dairies Elementary, and Dairies High. I believe in the collective bargaining process, and I believe that, if we bring the right things to the table, collective bargaining could work for us. It should work for us. I have a passion to help Lake County schools improve. Our graduation rates are going better. The Lee Academy, we need to look at the Lee Academy, because that's causing our graduation rates not to look as good as they would be. And we really need to work on the dropout rate. I noticed the last couple years of teaching, I have more and more truant students. We don't really have an attendance policy anymore, as we did when my children went to school. So a lot of students don't show up, and then they come back after not being there for a week or only being there 2 days the week before, and they're so far behind. And that's extremely difficult when teachers are being evaluated at the end of the year or the end of the semester with end of course exams, and the student hasn't shown up. And it's not the teacher's fault. So we have some issues we need to resolve. But I'm here for you, I'm here for the community. I'm here for every school in Lake County, even though District 4 just services not Leesburg, but Tiberias and Umatilla. But I'm here for all of y'all. And by the way, check out my website, votebetsyvarner.com. Contact me anytime with any questions you have. I would be more than happy to answer them. And I don't have my phone number on the website, but I will give you my phone number if you email me and we can talk. I'm very approachable, very concerned about Lake County schools and improving them. Thank you.
I shared with you a story earlier, and I want to tell you a little bit more about that. The conference that I went to was to learn about schools of poverty. And I met a lady there, Dr. Pearson, who is no longer alive. There are a couple of my former teachers in the audience that had the pleasure of hearing her. But one of the things that was core to her teaching was that everybody needs a champion. Every child needs a champion, every school needs a champion, every community needs a champion, everybody needs a champion. to be the person who takes your concerns, who takes what you desire, your vision, and I want to take it to the table. Now, I don't promise you that it's going to come away looking exactly the way you wanted it to look, but what I can promise you is that I will always fight for your child. I will always fight for what is right and what is best for the school system. I spent a lot of years here in Lake County, over 35 as an employee in Lake County Schools. A lot of those years were here in Leesburg. I have worked in most of the Leesburg schools, even the ones like STEAM that does not exist anymore. I started my career at 5th and 6th West. I worked at Oak Park when it was an elementary school. I worked at Leesburg High. I have been involved in Leesburg for a long time. But not just Leesburg. I have worked in almost every area of this county with the exception of Mount Dora. And if you count Sorrento, I worked in Mount Dora. So I am very much aware of the things that exist throughout the district. And I offer you my record. If you visit my website, you will find former teachers, former students. I have the pleasure of sitting at this table today with one of my former students. And no, I'm not that old, he just grew up really fast. But what I'm trying to say to you is that for a long time, I have been touching the lives of the citizens of Lake County. I recognize a lot of parents in this room tonight. I have the pleasure of being up here at this table with one of them. It is my pleasure to have always been a servant for the citizens of Lake County when it comes to their students. I ask that you consider my qualifications, and on November 3rd that you vote your conscience. And I hope that is Molly Cunningham, Lake County School Board, District 4. Thank you.
My slogan is one city, one community. But I really believe that with all my heart. Because I believe we are one city, one community, and we need to come together and be one city, one community. And we need to embrace that. I'm running for Leesburg City Commission District 1 because I have a vested interest. I was born and raised here, I live here, I work here, and I play here, and I worship here. I feel like I could bring some good business experience from my project management years at Firehawk Helicopters where I'm employed. And I just feel like we need to be more one united city instead of the division that I see with some of the current commissioners and throughout the city. I have to applaud every candidate up here. This takes guts to do this, it takes heart, and everyone up here, it takes a lot to do this. So I have to commend everyone. But remember, vote Alan Griezmann for Leesburg City Commission District 1. Thank you.
I'm running for Leesburg City Commissioner District 3, Seat 3. And once again, just to bring it back, I am the only candidate. I have two other opponents that I'm running against. For their busy schedule or whatever conflict, I'm not sure, but I'm here to represent myself. Over the last 20 years, I have given my all to this community. I've been working since the age of 14. My first job was at Lake Ridge Village as a server, working with the retirement. So I've been working all my life. And not only that, I am an entrepreneur. I've been in the disabled field for the last 13 years. I was the youngest administrator at Carter's Educational Center. I was 19 years of age when I first started there. And they looked at me and was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm here to serve. And it gives me so much joy to serve the disabled population, but my community with all my heart. And as I stated before, with me mentoring at Beverly Shores Elementary, Leesburg High School, Lake Sumter State College, Big Brothers Big Sisters, the platform goes on. But when I look around the room and see our next generation, it brings great joy. To me, it says a lot that I'm sitting up here to represent them. And I applaud Miss Cunningham down there, back at Eustis Heights Elementary. And one thing that she did teach us was stop, think, and make a good choice. I will never forget that. And I always carry that within my heart, and I promise you that I will represent Leesburg with the best character and integrity when elected on November 3rd, and I look forward to serving you all with all my heart. And like I stated, I'm running for Leesburg City Commissioner, District 3, Seat 3, and my name is Fred Griffin Jr. Thank you.
I'm Jimmy Murray, and I'm running for District 1 City Commission. I feel like I have the business experience that will help me understand the business of Leesburg. I also feel like I've got the educational experience. I have an agriculture degree from Cornell University and a pharmacy degree from the University of Florida. So I was raised in a household by mother and father that were both educated. My mom, in fact, was the LCEA president years and years ago. That's Yale. Yeah. So I know a little bit about the educational needs of our community. As a commissioner, I can tell you there's nothing more important than these ladies over here. We're just a fluff up here at the table. There's no job out there more important than educating our youth. And if we're going to make this a better place, we're not going to do it by building more McDonald's and Walgreens and service industry jobs that pay $10 an hour when it takes $18 an hour to afford an apartment on a 40-hour week. That's the average rate you have to make just to have your own place. If we can't get our kids educated, we're failing. And as a commissioner, I can assure you, that doesn't just mean educating them at the college level. It means working with Leesburg High School, promoting the construction school within the high school, working with the linemen, finding upper level jobs so that our youth have a chance. Again, I hope you vote for me. Jimmy Murray, District 1.
All right, take a deep breath, you're almost done. First, I do want to, before I ask this last question, I want to thank each and every one of you for putting yourself out there. As Alan just said, I know it's not easy. I've done it. Nobody that is doing this does it only from a good place in their heart. To put themselves under a microscope like this, to have to do the research that I know each of you have done to make sure that you are well prepared if you do get elected. So thank you, and I know that it's important as a voter that we have good choices to make, and so I appreciate you all doing this, and it is very important. Thank you for being here too, because I know this is not easy to sit in front of people and to talk, and anyway, so thank you so much. My last question is for our school board, and it is two parts. One, what do you think is the job of a school board member? And two, what do you foresee being your biggest challenge when you first take on the role, assuming you get elected?
Is it my turn?
Sure.
Okay. The school board is responsible for developing and approving and helping to set policy. And that is, or those are the rules by which the school system is governed. I think more important is what is not the role of a school board member. As a school board member, it would not be my responsibility to run any school. It would not be my responsibility to dictate to the superintendent what she should do. It would be my responsibility to join as one person on a member of a 5-board team that would come together and vote and decide things that outline the way the school was going to function, or the school system was going to function. I think that it is very important in order for the school board and the school system and the superintendent and all of the employees to be able to do their jobs appropriately. It's very important that everyone understands what their role is and everyone abides by the rules of their position. I am also aware, and I will share with you, that when one is elected to become a school board member, They actually have somewhat of a school board school that you go to. And they train you, and they teach you about your responsibility and your role. Because it is a very important one. And the only way that system works is if everyone remains true to what their job is. I think that in the times that we live in now, the biggest challenge is safety. I am very concerned about not just teachers receiving raises, but also our classified workers. They have not received raises. I care about all the employees of the school. I care that everyone has appropriate pay. As Dr. Bird said, I would want them to make at least that $18 an hour so that they can afford to have an apartment. I would also want them to be able to go to Publix and purchase some groceries. So I'm always concerned about the amount of money that people get to take home. But I also know that that has to be done in line with what the budget allows. So keeping the students safe, getting through this pandemic is certainly a great challenge. It poses new issues almost every day. The next issue would be money, and trying to make sure that all employees are appropriately paid. I would like to thank the Chamber and the Community Development Partnership for hosting this event tonight. I think we as candidates are very fortunate to have so many of you come out tonight and be willing to sit and listen to us. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Okay, you know, the school board works closely with the superintendent. And, you know, setting curriculum and policies are very important. But I really want to go to that second question. It is so important. The last 2 years I taught, and I told you already, between the active shooter program and COVID, for 2 years, many teachers did not feel safe. And fortunately, we do have a guardian program now that allows us to save some money. The guardian program, we probably only pay, well, it's still a lot of money, but not compared to having a deputy or a police officer on campus. A police officer on campus or a deputy is around $105,000 to keep us safe. A guardian gets paid around $32,000 to $35,000 plus benefits because they get paid $15 an hour. But that is a very important issue, and that was actually one of the factors why I told my husband Keith back there in January, I said, I just don't think I can do this anymore, and that was before COVID even happened. But yeah, just working closely with the superintendent, setting policies that are good for the students and the teachers in our schools. That's very important, and I plan to do the best that I can. By the way, I have some good endorsements. You might want to ask me about my Lieutenant Theodore Mackey and Baby Ann Irving, but I had Alan Griezmann as a student at Ferris Middle School, 8th grade, physical science. Yeah. And I had Molly's son in my home base, like a homeroom, nice student. And he's a teacher today.
Thank you.
Yeah, very proud of him. But that's it. I just thank you for allowing me to be here tonight, and I do hope that you vote for Betsy Farner, Lake County Schools District 4. And please check out my website, voteBetsyFarner.com. Ask me any questions you need. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the Community Development Corporation, we are excited and happy that you all agreed to come to the Chamber of Commerce. I'm sure Sandy can echo the fact that so many residents came out, some of your supporters, and hopefully we get a lot of views on YouTube and Facebook Live. We are recording, so if any campaign wants to have a copy from their website in the next few days. We know we have a 2-hour block, but we're not keeping it 3 hours. Some of the candidates want to hang around and ask any questions. Feel free. We do ask you to maintain your social distancing to make sure everybody stays safe, but they will hang around. A few of them will hang around. If you have any questions, want to support them, help them. As you can probably agree, we have some very outstanding candidates. 2 people I will be joining on the Leesburg City Council. I look forward to working with them, so it's very important for our city to hear their concerns, their issues, their answers, and course, as part of the school board, we have a great relationship. I'm kind of biased, I do like our superintendent, I think he's doing a great job. And I think our school board is very well with the city of Leesburg. We have partnered with the Leesburg police officers being on campus, so Leesburg's always been a good part of the school board, and we look to remain that. I'm glad our city commissioners are here to hear the heart of our school board candidates. So I don't have any more questions. I have a lot that I don't want to ask them tonight. I would love for you gentlemen and ladies to talk to some of the people that are here. I hope you convince some people to vote for you, and hope they will support your campaign. And I just ask one thing: even if you don't win, you stay involved with our schools and our city, because I think that's how Leesburg and Lake County is going to grow to be what we need to be. So that being all, we're going to have a word of prayer for this. I do put my pastor already had on. Let us bow our heads. Father, we thank you tonight for these great and awesome candidates that are here. We pray for their safety.